Welcome to another deep dive. Get ready, because we are going deep into some serious and fascinating stuff. Scams, hauntings, you name it.
It's a wild mix. Right.
It really is. We've got true crime stories that would make Ocean's 11 look like small potatoes, haunted objects that'll give you chills, and of course enough tech to make your head spin.
Sounds about right. I'm intrigued, though. What's the common thread here?
Well, that's what we are here to unpack. It's all about the human element. It's about that fascination with the unknown, the things that make us go, huh, what if?
I like it. Unpacking the what ifs. That's what we're all about.
Exactly. So to kick things off, let's talk heists. I mean, the Lufthansa heist, that's the stuff of legends, right?
Absolutely. A classic for a reason.
Right, like the planning, the guts it took to pull that off. It's incredible. Then you've got something like the Fire Festival, which is like a modern-day scam, all social media smoke and mirrors. But it makes you wonder, why do people fall for this stuff?
It all comes down to psychology. Con artists are masters at tapping into our vulnerabilities, our trust, fear, even greed.
They know how to push our buttons.
Exactly. Take pig butchering scams, for example. They're terrifyingly effective because they prey on our desire for connection. It's not a smash and grab. These scammers play the long game, building relationships, creating these elaborate personas.
Wow, so by the time they ask for money, the victim's completely snowed.
Precisely. Their judgment is clouded by this artificial bond. It's a stark reminder that emotions can sometimes override logic, even when we think we're immune.
It's a scary thought. And you know what else is scary? Haunted objects. Speaking of emotions overriding logic, right?
Ah, yes, the paranormal. It seems we humans have an insatiable appetite for the unexplained.
It's like a train wreck you can't look away from. Like, for example, the Dybbuk box. The supposedly haunted cabinet people were bidding on this thing on eBay.
It's fascinating, isn't it? These objects, they become almost like tangible representations of our deepest fears.
Exactly. It's like holding a piece of the unknown in your hands. And it's not just objects either. We've got legends like the Bell Witch haunting, which is so ingrained in history, it's hard not to get a little spooked.
Absolutely. It's that persistence of belief, the mystery that surrounds these stories that keeps us coming back for more. Even when, logically, we might question what's real and what's not.
Right. You start to wonder, maybe there is something more to it, something beyond our understanding.
Perhaps. Or maybe it's the thrill of the unknown, that little shiver of what if that keeps us hooked. And that's where technology comes in. It's like throwing gasoline on the fire, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It's a total game changer in good ways and, let's be honest, some kind of creepy ways too.
Right. On one hand, it's like this incredible tool for understanding the world, but then it also opens up these totally new avenues for, well, deception. Like take ghost hunting, for example.
Okay, yeah. It used to be all about Ouija boards and seances, and now it's all EMF readers and thermal cameras.
Exactly. It's like ghost hunters have gone high tech.
Right. Ghostbusters, but with gadgets instead of proton packs. But does it get us any closer to the truth? Or are we just, like, tricking ourselves with fancier tools?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's not just ghost hunting. Think about deepfakes.
Ugh, deepfakes. Don't even get me started on those. The tech is so advanced, it's straight up scary.
It really makes you question what you see and hear, doesn't it?
No kidding. Remember that story, I think it was last year, where these scammers used a deepfake of a CEO's voice?
Oh, yeah, to authorize a bunch of fraudulent transfers.
It's like, if you can't even trust your own eyes and ears anymore, what can you trust?
It's a whole new world of worry, that's for sure. And it's not just deepfakes. AI-generated voices, they're getting scarily good, too. You know, to the point where you can barely tell them apart from a real human voice.
And imagine the scams. Like, you get a call from your bank, but it's not actually your bank, it's some AI pretending to be them.
Exactly. And you'd never even know. It's like, how do you even begin to protect yourself against that?
It's enough to make you want to go off the grid entirely. But here's a thought, and maybe this is going a little too far down the rabbit hole, but what if technology itself is becoming, haunted?
No, that's an interesting thought. You're talking about AI going rogue, systems behaving in ways that even the programmers can't explain.
Yeah. It's like we're creating things that we don't fully understand, and maybe we're not supposed to. Like, what if we're opening up Pandora's box here? Pandora's box is right. It's like we started with scammers and spooky stories, and now we're talking about AI taking over the world. My head's spinning.
Well, maybe that's the point. Think about it. Scams, hauntings, tech. They all tap into this, like, primal human fear,
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We crave connection, right? So we're vulnerable to scams that prey on that. We want there to be more to life than what we see, so we're drawn to the paranormal. And technology. Well, that just throws a whole other wrench into the equation, messing with our perception of what's even real anymore.
So it all ties back to that need to make sense of the world around us, even the parts that scare us a little.
Exactly. And it shows how crucial critical thinking is now more than ever. We've got to be able to sift through all the noise, all the information, and figure out what's real, what's manipulation, and what's just unknown.
Totally. It's like a muscle you've got to keep flexing, that critical thinking muscle, or you'll get swept up in the current. But even when you think you've got a good grip on things, these stories, especially about like AI going haywire, they make you think twice, you know?
They do. It's like, have we created something that's going to outsmart us in the end? That's the big question, isn't it? And as technology keeps evolving, becomes even more a part of our everyday lives, how do we adapt? How do we stay ahead of the curve, so to speak?
That's a good question. Honestly, I don't know if there's an easy answer. Maybe it's less about having all the answers and more about like embracing the mystery of it all, accepting that there's some things we may never fully understand.
Maybe that's the beauty of it all, the not knowing. It keeps us curious, keeps us searching for answers, keeps us moving forward.
I like that. The beauty of not knowing. That feels like a good place to wrap things up.
Mm.
So to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this wild ride. Remember, stay curious, keep asking questions, and don't be afraid to venture into the unknown every now and then.
And a little healthy skepticism never hurt anyone.
Couldn't agree more. Until next time, keep exploring the weird and wonderful world out there.